The mechanical work on the Konig race car is as good as complete. I know that we still have to do the full alignment and the weight balance. We still have to take it to a shakedown. So there's still quite some adjustments that we'll have to do, but it is not rebuilding anything. So now it's time for some cosmetic work. And here we have the tub of the race car, and I'm going to repaint it in a different color because I just don't like red. So first I'm going to remove all the parts that don't need to be painted on the tub, like these quick connect fasteners, and this is a new one that will go on afterward. Anyway, most of them are not in a good shape anyhow. What I don't want to do is making the holes too big. Oh, that one went out easily. All right. Now, overall, the tub isn't too bad, but there are certain areas that have been suffering, and these will have to be repaired with some polyester. So I'm going to grind it down, and then we'll fill all this up. One of the issues that I have is that I'm colorblind, so that doesn't help a lot, does it, when you want to do paint jobs? But I do like the color blue. So first of all, I'm going to wash it down a bit and then sand it down. Then I'm going to repair the polyester where it needs to be repaired. And then I'm going to build a first coat of paint on it. And this is DuPont paint that I'm using. And this is going to be a high build surfacer. It's this dark stuff. Then I'm going to sand it down again. And I know some people say, no, you can spray straight on it. But I like to sand it down a bit again. And then I'm going to use my base coat, which is again from DuPont, which is this blue paint. I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to apply my clear coat. So it's a two-coat system. I'm rubbing it down with a Grit 400. And that is, for me, always the best grit for the surfacer. You don't want to sand it too fine because otherwise the paint won't stick. And I'm always using a block wherever I can. Of course, there are areas where you can't use a block, and then you will have to use your hands and find another way. There's a lot of orange peel on this paint, so I want to get it down so that it's real smooth. If I have a few flat surfaces, of course, I'm going to use my sander because that works a bit faster. I sanded down the tub, and now that looks quite smooth. And now I'm going to degrease it. And for that one, I'm using some thinner and some degreasing cloth. So this is a degreasing cloth, and it doesn't leave anything behind. So I now need to wash the whole car like this, and then we can place the base paint coat up. And you will be surprised what is going to come off still, if I'm going to show you. Okay, this is what you get.
Now, painting is a lot of fun. It is only the preparation that takes most of the time. Painting itself is maybe 10% of the time, but 90% of the time you will spend on preparing the surface before you can actually spray it. So if you don't prepare it right, you're not going to have a good result. The other thing you need to pay attention to is that you have the right temperature in the boot where you're spraying in. 25 degrees is good. And make sure you have the right viscosity for your paint. Otherwise, it ain't going to work too well. Make sure you have the right nozzle and the right pressure to paint with, depending on the gun.
I applied the surfacer with a very cheap gun because I didn't want to use my SATA. But of course now for the base paint, I'm going to use a SATA. And I have to say that the SATA is a really good paint gun. I don't know what you're used to, but the SATA Jet 5000 has been giving me always very good results, even though I paint in a homemade paint booth. So this is this base paint is drying very quickly. So in about an hour or so, I will be able to sand it again. And I'm going to do it probably with a Grit 800 to maybe 1000. And then it should be ready for the base coat. So I'll see you in about an hour. So here you go. This is the final color, and I do like blue. I don't know why, but I always like blue and yellow. And this is kind of a metallic paint. And this basic paint coat is not really strong. You can't leave it like this. You have to put a clear coat up to protect it. And this is what we're going to do tomorrow morning. We put the clear coat up and then it will be really shiny and glossy. I think this is going to look real neat. It's still not fully cured yet. I can see that. There's still some shiny spots, so it still has to dry out. So keep watching my channel, guys, because you're going to see a lot more stuff coming. And the tag rag is a piece of cloth that takes all the dust away. It's a little bit sticky, so you can easily wipe with it on the surface that you just painted. Now, the paint looks alright. It's not a perfect job. But then again, this is not a showroom car. This is a race car, so it's going to get scratches and dents. You see, some paint is actually coming off. So let's go and prepare the clear lac. Now, I'm not a professional painter to begin with, but I'm using the data sheets that are coming with the paint, and if you follow those steps, you can get pretty good results. So this is all about temperature, it's all about the correct mixture of the activator, the thinner, and the paint, and so on. So let's have a look at what we need to do for the clear coat. That's the clear coat, and inside you'll see exactly what the mixture is supposed to be. You got the spray equipment definitions, the nozzles, everything is there. I'm just going to go for the standard mixture, so which is 2 volumes of VR 1120, which is this one, and then I need a 1131, which is actually the value activator. This is my clear lac, and I'm going to take about 300 milliliters. That should be enough. I don't want to make too much because then I'm going to waste products. All right, this is about 300. And now we need to add another 150 milliliter of the activator, which makes it 450, right? And that is it. And then we give it a good stir. And of course, before we actually put it into the cup, we're going to put it through a filter. Filter goes up, and that filters come in different sizes. I got about half a liter, so that should be quite all right. So let me put the gun in the paint booth. We are about ready to start painting, so I'm going to film very shortly, and then I will take the camera outside.
Now, I have not shown you how I applied the base coat, but basically it's the same principle. The base coat, the color in this case, the blue color, was applied just like I did the high build surfacer. I let it dry for about 8 hours. In fact, it was overnight. And then the next morning I continued with painting it with the clear coat.
So that's it. So I'm done. The paint is dry. I'm going to reinstall all these quick releases.
So once you think you're done with work, and then you find out that somewhere in the corner you forgot the nose cone. So I had to start all over again with that cone. So we sanded it down, we applied the high build surfacer, we degreased it, we sanded it again, we applied the color coat onto it, and then finally we applied the clear lacquer to it. A couple of layers on that. And once all that was done, I was able to reassemble the car and put some stickers up. And that's always for me the fun part. I'm typically using a tape in the middle. That makes it easy to actually install the stickers. I degrease always with acetone. That also helps. And then I just, fold open the sticker and I push it onto the frame. It's fun. I don't like the wet method. I always like to do it dry. And it always has worked out fine for me. And then finally, yes, I built it, not bought it. So here we are reassembling the air filter.
So this is actually the housing of our air filter. And I have some ducting on the side, so we have some air coming in while we drive. And let's see, this is our air filter, which is a race filter from BMC. That should fit in properly, and this one you can wash out. So this is the top of the air filter. And here I do have my idle adjustment. So with this one I can adjust idle. So I'll put it on a screw here somewhere so it's easy accessible. The air ducts are right here. So when I'll drive, air will come in from the side and it will blow into the air filter. So I need to put up these plastic hoses to allow that airflow to go in there. All right, that's it. Now all I need to do now is tighten it down. And that should really help a lot with the airflow.
So let's look at a few close-ups on the car which is finished. I've paid a little bit of attention to the detail. I didn't put too many stickers up either. I think that just is enough. I don't need more. I like to stay within a certain amount of colors. And here we see the left side air intake with the radiator, where the air is coming into and being sucked through the radiator to cool down the cooling liquid. The front nose has a nice, very, very light spoiler. I probably should have shown you that in the video on how that has been built. But overall, this looks not too bad if you ask me. Some people don't like the sharp nose, but I do. The tires and the brakes, they seem to be going okay. Even the suspension, the wishbones that we powder coated. The spillover tank on the right hand side, air ducting, and the battery behind it are easily accessible. And inside we've got the fire extinguisher, an approved one, and the paddle box. The instruments panel has been replaced with another one, and we have a power emergency shut-off. Engine is taking air from the sides to the intakes, and the rear is looking quite alright with the new drive shafts and the reconditioned differential. And yes, it's a Kawasaki Team Racing sticker on it because the engine itself is from a Ninja bike. So typically this car would have a Polo Volkswagen GT engine in it.
So the race car is now fully complete, so now we can try it out on a shakedown. But before we do so, we still have to do the geometry and lock down all the bolts because we haven't done that.
I took a short drive with it, not too far, because none of the bolts are really locked into place. Nothing is adjusted, so that's going to be for next time. But I already parked it in his sleeping space in between races, and this is where we're going to do all the alignments. I'm waiting for the scales, to be very honest. As soon as I have them, we'll start. But we'll start with the geometry, and then we do the scales. And after that, well, we take it for a shakedown.
We have come to the end of this video, but we also have come to the end of the restoration of the Konig race car from 1990. Now we can start its next life on the track. But before we do so, there's going to be one more video, which is actually the geometry alignment and weight balance. And then we'll do the shakedown, and hopefully somewhere in August, you'll see it on the track. Thank you for viewing, and I hope you enjoyed it. Bye-bye.